Today is our very first trade show at the Dino Construction Podcast. Trades, trade offers in real leagues that we got from listeners sent to us. Very excited to bring this to you here today. So stick around for our analysis, our thoughtfulness, and our silliness. And welcome into the Dino Construction Podcast. Justin and David alone here today. JP had some internet issues, so we figured we'd just bring this trade show to you. Pretty excited to be discussing trades, talking about the strategy, our thought process, next directions, a lot of stuff. In theory, this should be a 20-minute episode. It might go 45 minutes at least. If JP was here, it'd easily go an hour. So pretty excited to dive right into this. So trades, right? Hit that like, hit that subscribe. And David, can you go ahead and read the first trade to the people?
Some kind of genius must have been involved in this one. No, it was a trade I made. We just thought we'd throw one of ours at the top, just to, little put your money where your mouth is situation. This one just went through. We were testing our form, so we thought we'd leave it in. It is our original league, me, Justin, and JP, our original Dynasty league, so very competitive. Start 10, super flex. I've got Josh Allen, CJ Stroud, Darnold. Now I've got Bucky Irving, CMC, Kyron Kamara, Chase, Nico, Jason, Evans, Ingram, and Kraft at tight end. No tight end premium, though. I've got all my future picks except for the first that I dealt in this deal, and I've got an extra second. So I gave Jaden Reed and my 26 first for Bucky. Most likely my 26 first is going to be 110 to 112-ish. JP, Justin, and I pretty much all have super teams in that league, and there's another team that's also really good. So that kind of motivated this move for me, the fact that most of the studs are consolidated onto 4 rosters already. And I don't know about you, Justin, but if you come to me during the season trying to get help to beat me, I don't know, this is a high for me buy-in league, trying to win, right? Yeah, I felt like there might not be a better asset than Bucky available in season, and I felt like this was a fair price to pay. So don't think it's like a slam dunk or anything, but I think it was a fair deal for both. What you think, Justin?
Honestly, I feel like it's pretty close to a slam dunk. I feel very confident that's a late first. There's no way you're not in the playoffs. Decent chance at a bye. You could get bounced in round 1 of the playoffs. It's not impossible, right? But even then, if that happens, from max points 4 with the league, you're 108 at the worst. So next year's 108 in a class that's not as exciting. And Jaden Reed, a guy that, yeah, sure, I know people are saying he's splitting out wide more in practice. It's practice. I think it's a slam dunk personally, because if that's a 111, 112, and Jaden Reed is a replacement level wide receiver for the most part over the course of his career with spurts, but all Packers receivers have spurts, and I think all Packers receivers very likely will continue to. It's just the Packers. So I love the trade. I think it's a great deal. Also, this is a league where it's virtually impossible to get the hammer at the wide receiver position. So when you're not able to get the hammer at the wide receiver position, and it's a league where start 10 is pretty shallow, especially when assets are as consolidated as they are in this specific league. So slam dunk. I hate to see it, though.
That makes me happy. This is definitely a fun one to track. I think maybe we should talk about some of these matchups as they happen, because you see my team there. It's pretty good. Justin's got an incredible team, and so does JP. What's that? Thumbs down button. You don't like my team?
I didn't even mean to do it, but I'm super happy I did.
Fun little feature.
Yeah, it's a Mac thing. What can you do?
Well, enough talking about myself, right? Let's talk about some listeners.
Moving on to our next listener. Did not give a name in the Google form. Start 12, Superflex, 1.75 tight end premium. Mahomes, Stroud, and May at quarterback. RBs are Jonathan Taylor, James Cook, Brian Robinson, J.K. Dobbins, and Trey Benson. Wide receivers, Tet McMillan, Rashee Rice, Rome Odunze, Godwin, Diggs, Christian Kirk, Kyle Williams. Tight end, Loveland, Kincaid, likely Waller, and all picks that are normally with them. So no extra, just their normal picks. They had an offer of tearing down from May for Penix, a 26-second, maybe early, and Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt. Getting a lot of training camp buzz, but just a piece. Any RB out of 53 at this point. Possible counters, other direction to go is what they ask. So it's an interesting one here, right? May for Penix in a second, possibly early, not even in the realm of something I'm considering. David, what are your thoughts on this before I kind of chip in a little bit more?
Yeah, that's kind of my thought too. Krosky Merritt is interesting. He's a fun dart throw. He's getting some hype. There is definitely a world where he's valuable, but there are many, many, many more worlds where he is not. So, what do we call him, a third? Even that's kind of generous right now. I don't know that you can actually sell him for thirds in most leagues, probably some. So let's call him a third. May for Penix, a second and a third. I'm not that interested. I would be open to countering for Penix in a first. I do think trying to tear down from one of the quarterbacks is the way to go with Mahomes, Stroud, and May. Start 12. You're a little concentrated in the quarterback room there. Definitely could spread out the love to some other positions, get some extra starters in that lineup. So I like the thought process. I just need a little bit more than Penix and some dart throws.
It's an interesting team, and I definitely do want to tear off of one of these quarterbacks, like you're saying. I actually like Penix as a target to tear down to because Penix has a lot of room to go up in value. Penix or JJ McCarthy would be the two guys I'd love to tear down to off of May. I almost feel like I need this second that's maybe early and a first, probably to go to Penix and all of that uncertainty, kind of personally. If it was JJ McCarthy, I'd be pretty willing to go down there for a single first. And I think you should be able to get a first to go down to JJ McCarthy. You should be able to get a first and second to go to Penix. So for me, that line I think is a first and second, or a first and second of value. I would also love to try to attack this as taking somebody like Kyle Williams, gearing up off of him into something a little bit more useful, taking something like Dalton Kincaid, because you don't necessarily have a scoring tight end, and tearing up off of Kincaid into a more useful range of tight end. So when I say a more useful range of tight end, what I'm specifically thinking is if I could use this to flop, get Kincaid's into. Honestly, I'd love to target Mark Andrews. I just don't feel like you have a great scoring tight end right now. Somebody along the lines of Evan Ingram, Tucker Kraft, guys that we have a little bit above him as like a little bit of value gain in it as well. Or just get a better tight end, but you also want to try to get some value for these tight ends. So I'd love to maybe approach that too, because that's a weakness I see in the roster. I think his wide receiver room is pretty good. I wouldn't mind another hammer at wide receiver either, though, if you could get Kyle Williams into a vet, because Tet McMillan, Rome Odunze were hoping for breakouts. Godwin could be injured. So all in all, I'd love to get more value, and I need quite a bit more. So probably a first and at least a second of value, if not an actual second.
Yeah, I mean, if I can get something on top of the first, I'm assuming this 26 first is from the same team, which is maybe early. If it's a maybe early first and Penix, maybe you throw in Krosky Merritt or something. I'm still listening because you do need to split some assets here, especially if you want to compete. You're going to need to flip that first into something else. It's kind of like an in-between team. It's really hard to fill out a good-looking start 12 lineup anyways, right? But would want an extra stud or two in this lineup to feel actually competitive. So if that's the goal, if you can get a decent pick, if it's an active league and you feel like you can flip that pick for like Devonta Smith or something, maybe you got to throw in Kyle Williams. But something like that, then I'm interested. As far as the tight ends go, I'm not really sure that adding like Ingram or something does anything there.
I mean, it is 1.75 premium, and I don't really view any of these guys as. Maybe Waller is a volume guy, but
I just feel like if you're going to make a move there, like make a move. Can we go get Kittle if we're trying to compete? You've got Loveland. I mean, if you can flip Kincaid for Ingram straight up, sure, fine. Or Njoku straight up or something very cheap. But you've got four guys that you're going to be frustrated when you're trying to figure out who to start already. So just changing one of those names isn't going to do much, in my opinion.
Oh, that's fair enough. I just don't really view these as any guys I want to really start in my lineup. Loveland could be.
How many tight ends do you view as guys you want to start, though? Like 3?
15, maybe in a 1.75 tight end premium. There's probably like 15 guys that I'm not upset about starting this specific guy. There's only 3 that I'm excited about, sure, but none of these guys are guys that I really want to slide into my tight end spot and consider that I could be competing. Like this guy could get me there. He's not going to get me there, but he's going to not hold me back too much that I can't compete. And I do feel like if we look at some of the statistics from Kincaid last year, Likely's probable unreliability, especially with the injury that came up, like Waller's 75 years old and more interested in rapping. I mean, anyways, he wasn't asking about tight ends, but there is a lot going on here. Wouldn't mind insulating. I'd love to try to get off of. I wouldn't mind trying to get off of whichever quarterback I can get the most from. So if you can get more for Mahomes than you can for May, if you can get more for Stroud, it's unlikely you could, but also be willing to look in that direction. So that being said, we spent a lot of time talking about that one. David, can you move us to the next trade?
Sure. We got a start 10 Superflex. Quarterbacks, Anthony Richardson, only one listed. Yikes. Running back, Charbonnet, Jordan Mason. Okay. I'm hoping we got some picks coming up. Wide receiver, Olave Pickens. Tight end, Andrews, Warren. Don't know if we have a tight end premium, so I'm assuming not. 226 first, 3 seconds, 2/3, 1/4. 427 first, 2 seconds, 1/3, 1/4. So we do have some picks. This is a completed trade. We've sent JJ McCarthy and Chris Godwin, got Anthony Richardson, Sean Tucker, Okay.
So a little bit of context, didn't include it in here just because wasn't sure how much space we'd have. Took this team over as an orphan. Whoever took it over didn't leave a name in the sheet, but took it over as an orphan. Very rough shape. Still pretty rough shape. Not a lot of assets. Obviously, just Anthony Richardson here. So I don't hate doing this trade at all. I am trying to get a second at any point for Anthony Richardson's probably, just because this roster cannot afford to have him evaporate into nothing. Like if I can get a second at any point, I probably would do that. Are you kind of on the same thought process, or are you hoping he turns into a golden goose?
Well, if he's on as long as he's on one of my rosters, that's what I'm hoping for. I think I would probably take most seconds. I don't know about any second, but yeah, maybe. I think he's going to be the starter, and when he's the starter, he's going to score a lot of points.
Yep.
If he starts scoring some points early, maybe you can flip him for a first. That'd be my only hesitation there.
Yeah, I do think waiting till in season is probably the play on flipping him, but I like the idea of you split it into more assets. You got rid of a risky piece in Godwin. That what if he comes back injured? What if he's not the same? Not really worth the risk. And
He had another procedure recently. Did you hear that?
I did see that. Yeah, it's
I don't know exactly when, but it was over the summer sometime. And like, I don't know, I'm a little worried about my Godwin shares. I'm not going to lie. I'm actually in this league thinking about it. I know the trade. It happened a little while ago, though, so it didn't hit me right away. But 2 firsts for JJ McCarthy, call it. I'll take the 2 firsts. Right now, A-Rich, Sean Tucker, a couple of thirds, Chris Godwin. I mean, I could see taking Godwin at some point, but sure, I'll take that package right now to get out of Godwin. So I think it's a win.
yeah, I absolutely love it. I don't see too much more work that this roster really needs done right now. If you can move Andrews for good value, if you can move him for a 1-2 swap in non-tight end premium, something like that, would love to move him for like a 1-2 swap. Just he's a little bit older. Warren's the tight end of your future. Otherwise, I don't see much you need to do before the point scoring season. You don't need to do that before the point scoring season, just with the likely news you might have a higher buy window. Maybe even go to the likely manager if they were trying to start him.
Unfortunately, it's not the most active league. So probably going to have to be active yourself sending trades. This league I joined, I took over an orphan in it also over the summer. And since I joined, this is either Kyle or David, I believe. So Kyle, David, Austin, myself have been involved in every trade one way or the other, like either both of us or one of us. So we're starting to get some activity in the league. It's starting to pick up, but that's unfortunately sometimes you take over an orphan in a dead league and it takes a little while to get that league fixed so you can fix your orphan.
What can you do, you know? And moving on to our next trade here. Start 10, Superflex 1.75 tight end premium. QBs are Purdy and Stafford. Running back Henderson, Jacobs, Monty, Travis, ETN, not Trevor, Taj, Brooke, Rashard Smith. Wide receivers, both Higgins, TN, Jaden, Rasheed Rice, Zay Flowers, Luther Burden, Josh Downs. Tight ends, Kincaid, Andrews, Terrence Ferguson, and Strange. Hicks own all his future firsts, plus a 26 late first, 26 mid third, and an extra 27 first. Traded away May. Received Monty, a 26 first, probably late, and a 27 first. A little bit of fun context they gave us in the show sheet as well.
Also received Rasheed Rice, kind of important.
Received Rasheed Rice, Monty, a 26 first and a 27 first. Gave us some fun context in the trade show. Apparently, they were called out for collusion and they wanted to overturn the trade before the guy who traded for May sent screenshots of offers that he sent for every other elite quarterback and nobody replied. So it's like, I've been trying. None of y'all answered. You should have cared then.
They think it was a massive overpay for May. Is that what they're saying?
Yep, that it was like a. I think it's.
It's expensive. It's an expensive Drake May, but if you're, especially with that extra context, you're sending out offers for elite quarterbacks. Nobody's taking it. Like if that's what you need, and you've got the ammo to go buy it. Go buy your guy. I get it.
I don't personally because I still value Rice as closer to 2 firsts than 1 first. So I'm paying north of 4 firsts, basically, is how I view this for May. And if I'm paying north of 4 firsts, go get me hurt. Somebody who I actually know is
Apparently you can't.
that I'm holding.
It's risky. I get it. I'd probably hold 2, but it's risky. But you know, if your mind is set on getting yourself an elite quarterback and you view May as one, and you spend all off season trying, nobody's knocking down the door, and all of a sudden you're like getting frustrated, you know. You send a big offer like this and hope it gets accepted. And look, it's the quarterback tax. You're not giving back a quarterback. If that 27 late's first is late as well, like 2 late first, Rasheed Rice and an aging running back. I mean, it might not be an overpay a year from now.
I mean, I think it's a great haul to get from him. Whether or not I'm looking, and so the guy who sent this offer did trade away May.
And just to be clear, I would want the package. I'm just saying I can empathize with the guy overpaid.
Let's move on to looking at next steps, is what the guy asked. Quarterbacks are Purdy and Stafford. Not a good quarterback room. Purdy's a great quarterback, too. He's not a good quarterback, one. Running backs, Henderson, Jacobs, Monty, and Travis Etienne. Wide receivers, T. Higgins, Rashee Rice, Zay Flowers, Luther Burden, Josh Downs, Jaden Higgins. And then tight ends again were Kincaid, Andrews, Terrence Ferguson, Strange. No tight end. There is a tight end premium for what that is worth. I have a hard time seeing this team compete. So sell your running backs in season is probably what I'm saying, unless you can get what you consider to be what you'd take in season now. Find that price that you'd want in season. For me, it's a future first for Jacobs. On a non-contender, I'm taking a future first for Jacobs. A projected early second for Monty. A 1-2 swap. Would love to get a 1-2 swap for like a Monty. Henderson, I'm okay with holding. I'm not looking to sell him. Higgins, future first plus. Flowers, you can hold, but a future first, you'd absolutely move him. Rice, I would probably wait until he's scoring points again in the season to move him personally. So I'd look to move some of those vets. And I would, since I own my first, I'd be looking to tank this year. Is that the direction you're taking this too, David?
Without a doubt, yeah. Sell, sell, sell. Got to get Jacobs and Montgomery off the team. If Stafford ends up starting, I mean, that injury, you might not be able to sell him right now just because people are a little worried. He's a tough guy. It sounds like he's going to start. So once he's scoring points again, you can try and sell him. I mean, I'll sell Henderson for the right price, but like you said, I'm not trying to sell the young guys necessarily. I'd be happy to, though. Anything you can turn into picks, get points off your roster, try to get that 101. Just don't overdo it. You don't need to sell everyone unless everyone's willing to pay market or above and you end up with like the next two drafts, then sure, fine.
And I probably am not selling Henderson unless I'm able to. This is something you kept trying to do in our Dynasty G-Gens League. You want my young piece, I'm trying to rebuild. Which vets are you taking to, right? If someone wants Henderson, he's young, he's sexy. Use that to get a first and a second for Higgins, right? Use that to get a 1-2 swap for Monty, right? Figure out like the way to get that like premium price that you were like, this would be the dream, is getting this price for this player. So if someone wants him, needs him, then that's what I would approach that too. Tear it down. It's okay to need to tear it down. And you just got a haul for a young player, so tear the rest down. Week 3 is probably the latest I want these running backs on my roster. I'm trying to move them up until then, but like come the start of this point scoring season, I'm starting to get actually stressed about it, and I want them all off by week 3 as far as the running backs outside of Henderson, and wouldn't mind moving him, but just don't need to. And thank you for submitting that one. No name attached, or there was a name attached to that one. Draked up and dripped out is what they said. I don't think that's a real name of someone we know. Wonder who that one is. David, can you go ahead and read the next one for us?
Sure. We got a start 11, 1.5 point tight end premium. Decent quarterback room. Actually, pretty good quarterback room. Jaden Daniels, Michael Penix, Cam Ward. Running backs, LOL, no. I like that. That's a good answer. Wide receivers, Nico, JSN, Odunze, Pearsall. Tight end, Mason Taylor. 3 firsts, 2 seconds, all other picks. So I'm assuming 2 extra firsts, but 3 total, or do we know?
I can go check real quick, but I think it's just 3 firsts, 3 seconds total. But
so the trade we're talking about, considering sending Nico for Egbuka and a 27 first, I think I need to rebuild for 2 more seasons. So the age cliff for Nico is a consideration. Egbuka hype is pretty high right now. 27 class hype is pretty high right now. Nico Collins is really good. I think he's more than a 2 first player. I think if that first and 27 is, you feel like maybe it could be early. I know it's hard to project 2 years out, but maybe the manager makes rash decisions sometimes. Maybe they don't care about the future that much, that kind of thing. I could see taking it. I would probably want to ask for a little bit more though if it's my opening offer, because I think that's right on the fence of what I'd consider, and I think I'm leaning Nico until at least point scoring season.
Yeah, I think I would need a hair more. I think a second on top of this, or something along the lines of similar type of thing as I was talking about the last one, like give me a value win worth a second elsewhere. I would love to try to get younger off of Nico. I do think like Egbuka and a 27 first is a little light. But he did bring up in the question he's worried about. This is friend of the show, Awesome Dumpling, TM. he put in the form here. He was worried about the age clip for Nico. Very valid concern. Egbuka's only going to go up in value. Probably won't score that many points this year. I think he'll score points this year. Like I'd expect him. I think 700-800 yards is a pretty like decent like projection for him. Pretty reasonable projection. Handful of touchdowns. So like he'll score some points for your max points for, and that 27 first, I don't hate it. I'm coming back to the other guy like, hey dude, you're trying to compete, you're getting a hammer, like pay up, dude. That's not enough. And that's probably what I'm doing is just a little bit more. But is a second going to do it for you, David, on top?
I think in this situation where I'm still rebuilding, in some markets I might say no, but I think most of the time I'd say yes. If it's a very active league and I'm very confident I'll be able to move Nico some other time for a similar price, then sure. But if this is what you're thinking about sending, I'm guessing that's not exactly the kind of league it is.
No, I own this league. I have like...
Oh, you're in this league, so you can speak. If it's not that active, yeah, send it for a first and a second and see if he takes it and go from there, because you never know. If Nico gets hurt and he's sitting on your bench again for another year, all of a sudden you just burned one of your more valuable assets. Like obviously that's not what we want to happen, and it can happen to anyone. So Nico's not unique in that. But if it's not that active of a league, you got to consider the future options of trading him.
Yeah, I definitely would push for a little bit more. If this is all I can get, I think I might hold off for a bit and see if I can get more during point scoring season as well. Wouldn't hate trying to go like Nico and Ward for like, well, I have Neighbors. I'm probably not giving Neighbors for that because I don't need quarterback. But like, yeah, just seeing if you can like package Nico up with somebody else to get like, if you went like Nico and Ward or Nico and Penix for a higher up the tier wide receiver, Garrett, or like a Drake London, Lad McConkey tier type of player, a little bit of a tier down, and then get like a little bit more added on. I don't know if I could get like an extra first or something on top of it. So like a couple of firsts. So I'm getting like a first for Penix. I would love to consider trying to like make a bigger deal out of it as well, but I think it's going to be hard to do more. So I think I'd just try to push for that second, honestly. But hey. All right, next trade, David. Read the first words and try not to barf.
Oh, start 10? No, I'm just kidding. We must be speaking of one QB. Ooh, that's cool. I mean, everybody play your game, whatever makes you happy. That's all I care about. Not for me, but we talk about it, we think about it, so it's okay. We can do a one QB trade question, especially because I don't see any QBs involved. QB room, Kyler and May. Running backs, Bijan, Mixon, Henry now. So I'm assuming he's part of this trade we're about to talk about. Wide receivers, Ladd, Mike Evans, Juwan Jennings, Debo, Ridley, Cup, Downs, Pickens now. Okay, Pickens in the trade too. Ertz and Goddard. So we got Henry, Pickens, and Goddard. And what did we give up? Well, we've got all future picks except our 26th second. Okay, that's good. We gave JSN, Christian Kirk, and Braylon Allen. This is start 10, 1 QB. So we got 9 non-quarterbacks that you're playing.
Equivalent of a start 11 as far as number of positional flexes you need.
Look, I try not to get too high on player takes. So I will say that I've got a spot for JSN in my heart. I love the guy. I think he's an elite player. I do think he's going to improve upon last season. But I get the thought process here. Henry's going to score a lot of points, and you're basically betting that Pickens and JSN will be close enough in production that getting a free Henry in your lineup essentially is going to make a big difference for you. So I get it. I would want JSN, but I do understand the process here.
Yeah, for me, it's going to be the other side, and it's not particularly close. I'm just a big time sucker for wide receivers that have finished as wide receiver ones that are 23 or 24 years old. Call me crazy. Pickens, he's interesting. Henry, he's old. Both of those guys could be nothing as soon as next year. Honestly, as soon as this year. Who knows? Pickens could just do the Deontay Johnson, or Antonio Brown thing, He could just flame out as soon as he leaves. Henry, he's old. We hope he's Superman. He seems incredible. But for me, just from a dynasty value standpoint, I can't personally make this trade. I understand where they're coming from going back to the team here. Now they have a full lineup. That's 9 starters that are non-QBs that you need. They needed depth. They got depth to like really compete. I feel like Pickens I expect to be pretty good. Henry I expect to be pretty good. Goddard's a likely improvement over Ertz. Who knows? Honestly, it's tough to flip a coin. They're both in the dead zone of tight ends, but he's younger, I guess. Honestly, it's fine. It's just a win now move, and I don't like making win now moves with assets in the class of JSN. And I think that's my big thing is when I have assets in that JSN class, pieces. They're not the pieces I'm moving in a win now type of play. The problem is a lot of the time you have.
Yeah. I agree with you there. And I definitely would take JSN here. I think if you could have got like a second instead of Goddard, maybe I'm a little more interested because that gives you a little bit of insurance if something goes wrong. You still have a second to play with. But like I said, I do understand the process. And if you're right on the bet on Pickens versus JSN, then it looks good in a few months from now. I think JSN is in a different class than Pickens personally.
I would be inclined to agree there. That was the authority. And moving on to our last trade here. Start 9, Superflex, 1.5 tight end premium, QBs, Kyler, JJ, McCarthy, Caleb Williams, RB, just Genty, and then some RBs on a 53. Wide receiver, Tet, BTJ, Lamb, Worthy, tight end, Hawkinson, maybe Strange. Picks, owns a hopefully late 26 first. That's his. And a late, probably 110 to 112 first. Inbox offer, send Jaden Blue, not my late 26 first. So the first that he is confident is late. Gives him the flexibility of owning his own first still. A late second, late third, another late third, and a late fourth for Jonathan Taylor and Tyreek Hill. Had to overwhelm with junk. We already sent Trav Bob, friend of the show, a DM that we're fine taking this if he's sure he can compete, just looking at the league economy. Like, does this put him as a top 3, top 4 team with still owning that first to fill a hole later on in the season? Having Janty and just Taylor's a little risky. So
yeah, I'll assume, knowing Trav Bob, he's got pretty solid roster construction, so he's probably got some solid backup running backs that can hopefully fill in some holes where you need them. I don't love like Blue in a first for Jonathan Taylor. I think that's about fair. And if you're trying to plug your running back hole to compete, which is what he needs to do, you've got an extra first to do it with. I think that would be okay in isolation. I think a second, 2/3, and a fourth for Tyreek at this point, especially a late second, late thirds. Like, yeah, I'll take a shot on Tyreek Hill for essentially 4 dart throws of varying value. So I like it. If you're trying to make a push to complete, it's only start 9, so we're trying to consolidate to hammers in general anyways. And like in a start 9, the chances of even that late second meaning anything are very little. So yeah, I think he did well. Even if Jaden Blue ends up being a prominent player in Dallas's backfield this year, I think it still probably looks like a good trade. I think it just looks like a good trade for both sides maybe at that point.
Yeah, it's a bet I'm definitely happy to take. I feel a little bit different about the Jaden Blue and a late first for Jonathan Taylor. I think that's good process. Jaden Blue is a fringe 3rd, 4th round value pick in rookie drafts, right? Like, he trended up higher as hype went. News and stuff hasn't necessarily been great about him. Like,
swinging back around on him enough. To me, it's more about spending a first on a running back right now, especially a non like Gibbs, Bijan, Janty, Hampton. Jonathan's like what, 26?
But I think when we know it's a late first, like, this isn't his first, right? This is a team that he feels confident is going to get the bye, right? Like, this team, it's not his. It's a team that he knows is better than his own team. So making that play off of it might be the only chance you can also have to get that valuation as a mid first. Like 2 weeks into the season, that team is a powerhouse again. Anyone who's smart shouldn't be surprised. But sometimes in the offseason, you can get the better price for those guaranteed late first than you can later. So for that reason, like, I'm personally okay with it, especially because of the combined really cheap price on Tyreek Hill. That's a price I'm willing to pay on Tyreek Hill for sure.
Yeah. No, I'm still on the veteran side there. I was just explaining my math on Blue plus a first JT. So I think that's kind of the heart of this. You're obviously taking Hill over the junk.
Yeah, well, we'd take it, Trav, but just verify you are in fact sure that you're contending with this first. Like, I mean, you should be contending, but be sure that like you feel like you can knock out the first and second place teams with your roster. And as long as you got that roster construction, green light it. It's good value. All right, so that is our first trade show we're wrapping up down below. We'd love feedback from you guys in the comments below on anything we should change up. Next time we might come up with different graphics rather than the banners. Even, who knows, it might even be easier if we just had a Google slide that we could just enter the information into, then copying and pasting it into the banners. So we'll probably try to make the presentation better in the future, etc. But want to keep bringing these to you guys. So if you liked it, hit that thumbs up button so we know to keep producing these throughout the regular season, and we will make sure to get out to you guys But you can always email us questions, dinoconstruction@gmail.com, dinoconstructionff@gmail.com. It's in the YouTube description below. I should know what it is. I'm not an adult. So thank you for listening to another episode of the Dino Construction Podcast. We hope you found this as helpful for you as it was for us. Please remember to like and subscribe wherever you listen to review. And from all of us here at the Dino Construction Podcast, until next time.